All right, today we're going to continue on with our slope. Now, what we are getting into today is we're going to look at our slope intercept form. Now, you've already seen this from the other day when I put it on the board. We have y equals mx plus b. Now, m, we already know from the other day, is my slope. So that's the coefficient that's in front of x is my slope. Now, the b, which will be another number, okay, so this will be a number and this will be a number. This is called our y-intercept. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to talk about what our y-intercept is. Okay, now we know we have an x-axis and we have a y-axis. The y-intercept is where your line crosses the y-axis. Okay, so let's bring that back up. Y-intercept is where your line crosses the y-axis. Okay, so let's look at, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Let's say I just plug in a line here. Okay, let's just say we have this line. My y-intercept for this problem, your y-intercept, if I'm just looking at it, is where this line crosses the y-axis. So it crossed it at positive 4. So your y-intercept here is positive 4. Okay, what if I move that line? Well, say I put him down here. The y-intercept crossed at 1, 2, 3, negative 4. Okay, if it moves here, it's negative 8. Move it back up here, it's 0. Doesn't even matter if my line's going to my slope is a left. Okay, wherever it crosses your y-intercept, your y-axis is where your y-intercept would be. Okay, so now, why is that so important to us? Well, if I give you an equation that says y equals 2x plus 6, and I ask you to graph that, and I didn't tell you anything else about it. Well, one thing you could do is you could make your t-table or your box table over here, and we could identify x. We've got our equation, we've got our y, and we have our ordered pair. Okay, and we could plug in 5 numbers, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. And we could solve that. So we could go through here and plug it in. Okay, this is negative 4, so that makes that a positive 2. And I could finish this table out, plot my points, and graph that line. Now, it's a long way around. Here, we know some important facts. We know, one, that this is my slope. We know this B is my y-intercept. Okay, so remember those points. Y equals 2x plus 6. So I'm going to write it over here. Y equals 2x plus 6. We said this was my slope, and this was my B. So my B is my y-intercept. It's going to cross at positive 6. So where on your y-axis is positive 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's right here. Put a point. And now I have 1 point, and I'm able to use my slope to determine more points. Now remember, make your slope a fraction, so it's 2 over 1. It's positive, so that means it's going to be leaning to the right. So I'm going to go up 2 and over 1. Up 2 and over 1. Ran out of paper, so I need to come back to the original point, go down and 1 to the left. And therefore, here's my line. Now, this time I do have an equation, so I am going to label my line, and I am done with that. Okay. Okay, so let's look at another example. Let's say that we have an equation that says y equals negative 1/2 x minus 3. Okay, the first thing you need to do is identify your slope. So my slope is negative 1/2. My y-intercept is negative 3. Now it's negative 3 because of the subtract 3. Okay, so on my y, I want you to put a point at negative 3. So 1, 2, 3. Here's my negative 3. So there's my point. Now my slope is negative, so it's going to lean to the left. And I'm going to rise 1, run 2. So from this point, I'm going to rise 1, run 2. Rise 1, run 2. Rise 1, run 2. I can even go back over to the original point and go down 1 and run 2. Remember, when you go down, you always want to go in the opposite direction so it'll stay a straight line. You're going to draw your line. Remember to go past your points just a little bit to continue on. Add arrows, and then you're going to label that line with your original equation. Okay, let's do another one. So we have y equals 2/3 x. And let's go ahead and do minus 1. I'll trick you up on the next one. Now on this one, I want you to tell me what your slope and your y-intercept are. Okay, my slope is 2/3 because it's the number that's in front of x. My y-intercept is negative 1. So I'm going to my y-axis and put a point on negative 1. Now I'm going to use my rise over run. It's positive, so I'm going to be leaning to the right. And I'm going to go up 2 over 3. Up 2 over 3. Up 2 over 3. I can go back. I can go down 2 and over 3. Okay, draw my line, put my arrows on it, and then write my equation. Okay. All right, so let's continue on and let's look at one that is just y equals x. Well, I want you to identify me the slope and the y-intercept. Okay, your slope is 1. All right, so my slope is 1, so it's 1 over 1. Now, I did not have a b, so that would be the same as adding a 0. So my slope-intercept is 0, or my y-intercept. So here's my point. This was positive, so I'm going to go up and over 1. And then I'm going to draw my line. And label it. Okay. Now, what happens when you might have something like x equals 3? Well, first of all, this is not in slope-intercept form. And so, because I have no other variable, this is either going to be a horizontal line or a vertical line. Now, x is going to be 3 no matter what y is. So on your x-axis, you're going to go to a positive 3, put your point, and you're going to draw a vertical line. So when x equals a number, that is a vertical line. And remember, my slope here is undefined. Okay? Now, what if we have a y? All right. So if I just have a y equals a number, Okay, again, this is not in slope-intercept form. So I have no, here, okay, there is no slope. I just have y equals 5. So on my y-axis, I want to find the point 5. And y is always going to be 5. So I have multiple points every way. And I'm just going to draw my horizontal line. So y equals 5 is a horizontal line. So my slope is 0. Okay. Now, last thing, what if I have a line and I ask you to write the equation for that line? Things you need to know. First, you need to find your slope and you need to find your y-intercept. Now remember, your y-intercept is where does it cross the y at? Well, it's crossing it right here. So that point was 6. And it was positive. So we know in my equation that down here this is going to be fixed. And because it was positive, it's a plus. Now we need to find our slope. First of all, it's leaning to the left, so we know my slope is negative. And we want to rise over run. So here we're going to rise 1, run 1. So negative 1 over 1 is just negative 1x. Now, if you really wanted to write that a little different, you could have had y equals negative x plus 6. Okay, look at one more of those, and we'll be done for the day. Okay, let's say I have a line. Say we have that. I want to slide it down just a little bit. Okay, so if we have this line, the first thing you need to do is you need to find your slope and your y-intercept. Well, here my y-intercept is 1 to negative, we're going to call that negative 3. I'm going to slide it down just a little bit more. Okay. So that's negative 3. Here, we're going to do rise over run. I don't like how that line's leaning, I'm sorry. Okay. All right, so for my negative 3, we're going to do rise over run. First of all, it's positive. I'm rising 3 and running 2. From here, I'm rising 3, running 2. Okay, so my slope is 3 over 2. So my equation, here's my slope-intercept form. I'm going to replace those with the information I know. So y equals 3 over 2 x minus 3. Because of the negative, it's going to make that a minus 3. So this is my equation of my line. If you have any questions, bring them to class tomorrow.